Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now today's first story comes from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit from Antique Pianist 7765 and says, Am I the arsehole here for not defending my wife when my sister called her fat? Ooh, dearie me. My sister, 27 female, was visiting my wife, 32 female, and me, 33 male, the other day. An important thing to note about my sister is that she has a child, 5 male, with her now ex-boyfriend, 27 male. When my sister found out she was pregnant, she told her then boyfriend that she was pregnant. He wanted to marry her in a shotgun wedding of sorts, but my sister said no. The only information she offered up was that there was no way they would be compatible in the long term, and I don't think it's any of my business to probe or question her about it. Soon after, my sister and her boyfriend broke up, but they established a healthy co-parenting relationship, and both now have 50-50 custody with stable, well-paying jobs, and live close by to each other. My wife strongly thinks that my sister should have gotten married, and hates that my sister refers to her ex-boyfriend as her baby daddy. I don't think my sister really cares that she had a child out of wedlock, but every time my wife meets my sister, she brings up the fact that she should try and get her boyfriend back and ask him to propose again, and ask why she does not want to marry him, especially since my sister has been single these past 5 years. It has gotten to the point that she has told me privately that she is fed up with this and she has asked me to speak to my wife about this, which I have. The other day, my sister visited my wife and I at our house. We were having a normal conversation. My sister was talking about her son entering kindergarten and all the ways she was preparing him. The conversation seemed pretty mundane until my wife once again brought up that my sister should try to get married at the courthouse with her ex-boyfriend, and that the other parents view her as immature and would think of her child as illegitimate if she didn't. Before I could even jump in and say anything to defuse the situation, my sister was raging and said that my wife should worry about her fat self and losing 100 pounds before worrying about her child, and that a ring can't hide her triple chin, and to worry less about her going to the courthouse and more about the gym. My wife has always been on the bigger side, and I absolutely love and adore her, but it is one of her biggest insecurities. She ended up sobbing while my sister grabbed her things and left. This whole argument took around 2 minutes and I froze up and didn't really know what to do. After my sister left, my wife asked me why I didn't say anything to defend her to my sister. I was honest and said I thought that she was wrong for calling my sister immature and her child illegitimate. While I acknowledge it was wrong for my sister to make the comments she did, I don't think they were completely unprovoked. My wife is now giving me the silent treatment. So Reddit, am I the arsehole here? I just felt like the wife was way out of line. She spent years criticizing someone else's life choices, insulting her, and even dragging an innocent child into it by calling him illegitimate, which, I can't look past. It's an incredibly nasty thing to say. But also what the sister said was absolutely a shitty thing to say, and I never think insulting someone's appearance is a good thing. But that being said, I also completely understand why she bloody exploded. It sounds like she's been putting up with this for years, about someone being judgmental about her personal life, even making comments about her child being illegitimate. I think that would tip anyone over the edge. I totally get where the sister was coming from. A commenter says to OP, your wife sounds awful. You're the asshole for letting her keep disrespecting your sister and her son for so long. Commenter replies saying, yeah, I gotta agree. You let this go on for 5 years. I'm surprised your sister still hangs with you. Allstar says everyone sucks here. You should have shut your wife down eons ago. It's not a damn place. Yeah, your sister probably should have not gone for the jugular with a fat shaming, but honestly, deserved. Sounds like your wife can dish it out and not take it. You're the arsehole for not getting her to back off earlier though. Your sister probably feels like you've never defended her, but you jump in to defend your wife, which in most situations is exactly how you want a relationship to go, but not when your wife is being a straight beast. Commenter replies saying not the arsehole actually. The wife bit off more than she could chew. Jocelyn says, tough one. On the one hand, your sister finally bit back, and bit back good after years of attacks by your wife. On the other hand, happy wife, happy life. Is your wife reasonable in general? Like, if you talk with her and explain that what your sister said was below the belt, but on the other hand, so is 5 years of suggesting that your sister should give up her happiness because otherwise her sister-in-law might see her child as illegitimate. and that your sister has throughout the years communicated in many ways that she wasn't going to follow that advice and that she didn't appreciate the constant poking. Not the arsehole. Opie replied saying, she's usually pretty reasonable, but she's not talking to me now. Commenter says, not the arsehole. She fucked around for 5 years and finally found out. Wonderful says, so you did freeze up. Well, not say anything because you felt it wasn't provoked. Opie responded saying, I froze up during the argument because I was shocked by it all, as my sister is not the angry type at all. This is the second time in my life I've seen my sister angry. I reasoned it out after my sister left. Another commenter says, a bit of an arsehole, but not because you didn't defend your wife, but because you didn't manage her to stop insulting your sister and her kid. She's basically calling him a bastard. Not cool. Opie says yes, she's a Christian. So at some point later, Opie does come in with an update and says, I read your comments and it's clear that you think I'm an arsehole for not defending my sister. And I think I'm not an arsehole for not defending my wife. I've called my sister and apologized. She's pretty gracious and accepted my apology. I told my sister that I think she is a great mother and a saint for dealing with these comments for so long. I did not demand that she make an apology to my wife. For those of you concerned that my nephew hears these remarks, I want to make it clear that when my wife has made these comments, she made them either when my sister's ex had custody or when my nephew was in another room. Not to excuse the comments, but to address the concerned Redditors. As for my wife, she has stopped giving me the silent treatment. She called her mum my mother-in-law, and after she told her the situation, her mum really chewed her out. She did apologize to my sister, not just for the most recent incident, but for all of the rest of them. My sister also apologized for the comments she made. My wife and I had a discussion about why she was so fixated on my sister being an unmarried mother. Apparently some of her more religious friends were judging her for having an unmarried sister-in-law, and she projected that insecurity onto my sister. She also admitted to being jealous of my sister as she was able to have a child, which is a dream of ours. Due to my wife's weight, it is nearly impossible for us to conceive a child. She also expressed general envy for my sister when it came to things like looks, her job, her maturity. I made it clear that these comments about my sister's marital status should not be made in the future. While I personally think what my sister said was harsh and out of anger, I do not think it is unjustified. She snapped after years and you all made it clear that she would be extremely justified to go no contact, so I'm happy that she did not make that decision. I plan on going to marital counseling with my wife. I've reaffirmed that I think she's absolutely beautiful and that we will work through these insecurities together. I want to use this situation to create a stronger marriage and a better relationship with my sister. Note for why wife can't get pregnant easily without too much detail. She has PCOS and has a BMI significantly over 40. Wanted to get wife's consent to share about the PCOS. Commenter says, I'm happy she apologized to your sister. Info, did your wife read the comments on the first post? Opie said she did. She was shocked and ashamed. White Raven says, hey, that's great and all, but what does your wife's weight have to do with her ability to get pregnant? Unless she's incredibly morbidly obese, it should not at all be an issue. Opie says she has PCOS as well, and combined with the weight, it is nearly impossible. Prestigious Ear says, you handled this perfectly, and good for you both for getting counseling. May your future be happy and bright. Opie simply replies, thank you. There was a commenter below this that somehow I've lost the screenshot to, but I thought it is a pretty important comment to add at the same time. Cheeky Punker says, heads up, general PSA, PCOS has been renamed PMOS. This is actually a big deal because the name has led to a lot of misconceptions among doctors who have been misdiagnosing and messing up treatment. It's not just cysts, it's a complex disease that affects many things. Polycystic ovary syndrome is the old name. Polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome is new. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from a throwaway account from the Relationship Advice subreddit and says, my 28 male girlfriend, 31 female of 3 years confessed to me that she only started dating me because she knew I had a massive crush on her for a very long time, and her roommate convinced her to go on a single pity date with me. So I've had a mega crush on my girlfriend ever since school days. We're in the same school, although she was one class ahead of me. My now crush was such that everyone in my school knew. Like if I was anywhere near her, people would just give a mischievous smile to the both of us. If we were sitting near each other, then my friends would tease me mercilessly. Lol. In short, it was impossible for her to not know about it, but I never had the courage to ask her out. After school, we moved to different parts of the world for our education, and we were not even Facebook friends. Anyways, around 3.5 years ago, I was attending the birthday celebrations of a friend when I saw her again. It was her alright, only she had become even more gorgeous and badass. The friend whose birthday I was attending was a mutual friend from our school, and he of course knew about my crush. There were 2 or 3 more mutual friends there who also knew, and they kept encouraging me to go talk to her. So I finally went up to her with my heart in my mouth and had a small talk with her. She of course recognized me from school, and we had a nice talk, and then we exchanged numbers and socials. So with great trepidation, I did some light detective work to find out if she is single or not. To my great relief, I didn't find the presence of any guys in her feed, so my hopes went up a little. I reached out to her to hang out, fully expecting her to turn me down, but she accepted, to my great surprise. So we hung out, and I found out that we have a lot in common, and then we decided for a next meetup. Things picked up from there, and eventually we became boyfriend and girlfriend. She is everything I expected and more, plus she is also extremely happy with our relationship. We have been discussing marriage too. Anyways, last weekend we hosted a BFF and husband for a dinner at our house. The BFF is someone who I had known during our school days, and she is a good friend too. After dinner we were shooting the breeze, and except me, everyone was pretty drunk as they were staying the night at our place. So we were talking when our drunk BFF suddenly turned to my girlfriend and said, "Look how happy you are today, and I feel some sense of pride after looking at you two." I smiled and said, "Well, thank you." Then she continued talking to my girlfriend and said, "You didn't even want to give this guy a chance, and only agreed when I pestered you to go on a pity date with him, and your plan was to let him down easy after the said date. But instead you guys are sitting here talking about your future together, and it makes me so happy that I convinced you to take a chance with him. Can you imagine if you had stuck to your original plan?" Her husband by now realized the awkwardness and led her away to sleep. I could see in my girlfriend's face that she was visibly distressed, so we went to bed too, and when she came to bed after changing clothes, she was already in tears. She took my hand in hers and said please don't mind her words. I asked if it was true, and she admitted that yes, it was. She knew I always had a massive crush on her, so when I asked her out, she didn't want to be mean by turning me down harshly. So she discussed it with her BFF, who was also her roommate at the time, about the situation. The BFF knew me, so she tried to convince her to give me a chance, but the girlfriend was not convinced. Finally, the BFF asked her to go on to 2 to 3 dates with me, and then let me down easy, and girlfriend agreed. But then she found out we really clicked together and wanted to continue dating, and well, here we are 3 years later. I hugged her and said it's okay. Don't worry about it too much as it's water under the bridge, but as you guys can tell, it's obviously bothering me, and I think she has started to catch on too, as she has been extra attentive and loving to me since the incident. So Reddit, on the one hand, I am the guy who is literally going to be engaged and eventually married to my crush, and it's even better because our relationship just how I imagined it to be, only 10 times better. On the other hand, it does sting a little to know she only agreed to go out with me because she pitied me, not gonna lie. Please knock some sense into me before I self-sabotage this wonderful relationship. Thank you. Now I feel for OP here, because I think that would feel like a gut punch after hearing that after 3 years, was it? But that said, I think it's an important thing to think about why she went on the first date versus like why she actually stayed. She didn't fake 3 years of happiness or moving in together or starting talking about marriage out of pity. She just gave someone a chance and realized she genuinely liked him, and they built a real relationship off the back of it. I think most healthy relationships don't begin with both people instantly thinking this is the person I'm going to marry. I'm sure there are some out there, of course. They generally start off slow and just thinking they seem nice. Let's see where this goes if something builds on top of this. I mean, I was seriously side-eyeing the friend in this. What on earth possessed her to blurt out? Well, I know what on earth did. It was probably the alcohol, but what possessed her to blurt that out at dinner? It served like no purpose apart from embarrassing everyone. But again, I don't blame OP for just needing a bit of time to think about it. Worrying, we all worry in some ways. I'm an overthinker and worry about stuff all the time. But I really hope that OP doesn't let that overshadow the fact that she chose him every day for the next 3 years, and I think that's what really matters. But a commenter says, don't let this sour what sounds like a really beautiful relationship. I know it sucks to hear that the backstory to your first date wasn't what you thought it was, and the way it was told to you was a little shitty. But I think it says a lot about what an awesome guy you are, because after just one date she completely changed her mind about you. And her reaction to this really shows how much she cares for you. She didn't try to minimize it, and she didn't try to lie about it either. It sounds like she's validating your feelings and is being sweet and supportive. And remember, this was all based on her opinion of you before she really got to know you. And regardless of the reason, she did decide to go out with you and she fell for you. You got your dream girl and you guys sound really happy together. I think it's actually a really sweet story. Finn says, I don't even know why you would beat yourself up about why she decided to go out with you. So yeah, she went on a pity date with you, but your looks and personality won her over without even realizing the deck was stacked against you initially. And here you are 3 years later with your longtime crush in love with you. Recognize the win, my dude. Opie says, I've had a crush on her since I was 12 to 13 years old. Lol. And we started dating when I was 25, so I can understand her hesitation. Main Green says, seriously, OP went to the Relationship Olympics as an underdog and won gold. Good for them. Not only that, the girlfriend sounds kind. There's nothing negative here for OP really. Blade says this, OP got the happy ever after we all dream of when we think of our crushes. He has zero reason to be insecure. A commenter says, if you had a crush on her since her school days and you're younger than her, she probably felt awkward since everybody knew about it. I've had people crushing on me and it made me feel uncomfortable when I knew how they felt, and I didn't feel the same way. So here you are, you two grew up together and see each other years later. She probably still thought it was awkward you liked her this long, which is why her point of view didn't change until she actually started to get to know you. Not to mention, as women, it could be so dangerous for us if someone liked us for years. We worry, if he's liked me for this long, how far is he willing to go to get me? I'm not saying that you're like that or that this is what she thought, but we have to take every little thing into consideration, sometimes unconsciously. Maybe she felt that if she went on a few dates with you, you'd believe her more easily and leave her alone if she tried and moved on. But it turns out you two click and are great together. She probably didn't tell you because she was embarrassed she thought you were anything other than a good guy. Give the good guys a chance is a mantra we often hear, and they're not always good guys. Maybe hearing this from a woman's perspective is helpful, so I wanted to share that. You two can talk about this of course, and you should, but do not make her feel like she was wrong for her feelings. At the same time, you are valid to feel hurt by this. It's not your personal fault after all. If you still have concerns, you can talk to a couples counselor. Take care, and good luck. OP replied saying thank you for that, and I know she is not wrong for her feelings. I will never blame her for that. OK Replacement says, did she say something to a friend afterwards? Now, if she is totally sure of her feelings for you, has she said anything else about the situation? Opie said, well, we were talking about getting married and buying a house next year, so I think she is sure about her feelings as she does have a lot of suggestions about our future life, and she actually made her friend apologize to me in the morning. She has said that I could talk to her anytime I feel uneasy and she will never invalidate my feelings. So OP does come back in to update the post and says, so I guess I should tell what happened after I made the post. In the morning, the BFF apologized for her insensitive comments the night before. She said she got too drunk and that she just wanted to take credit for setting us up and playing a matchmaker, but being drunk she blurted out some unnecessary things. I said of course, you didn't have to apologize as I have to thank her for me and my girlfriend going on that first date. After the BFF left, I went to my girlfriend and shared my feelings and asked her why she was so hesitant on going out with me. She then took my hands in hers and told me that it just felt awkward to her. She had known for years that I had a crush on her. On top of that, I was younger and junior than her. A friend from back home sometimes used to tease her by taking my name, and almost all of our mutual friends know about my crush on her. So when I asked her out, she felt awkward because 1, I was more into her than she was into me even before going out on a single date, and 2, I had her on a pedestal and she was certain that reality was never going to meet my fantasy, so she wanted to avoid going through with this. Also, she thought I was a weirdo. She admitted it. Lol. But after her BFF went to bat for me, she decided to go out with me and then let me down easy after 2 to 3 dates. Then I asked, well, what changed after the first date? And she said, well, you didn't give off any weird vibes. Yes, you were very happy and nervous as a result, but I didn't get any creepy vibes from you. You were just a guy with a crush with whom I had insane chemistry even on the first date. And now 3 years later, I think I have a bigger crush on you than you ever had on me. After having this conversation, we went out to have dinner at the same restaurant where we had our first date and even tried to order the same dishes, but alas, they had discontinued one of the dishes. Then we decided to order something entirely new, which we both have never had. Anyways, that was the update, guys. Thank you for reminding me of how lucky I am. Lol. P.S. We'll be going ring shopping in the first week of December. The commenter says to OP, "Oh, I love this. This sub is such a heartbreaking sub, so it's nice to see a happy post." Luna says, "Goes to show once again how important good communication is." And No Hand says, "Yeah, I'm happy with this one. I was really rooting for these two. It did all just sound like a perception issue." Oh, the line from her in this one, that "I think I have a bigger crush on you than you ever had on me," was just absolutely lovely. I'm glad to see it. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's have another story. Now, our next story comes from Murky Suggestion 628, who says, "Am I the arsehole for defending my 7-year-old after a dad ruined a moment?" My daughter, 7 female, went on a school field trip last week to a local park. It was a ranger-led educational session where the kids learned about different animals, including turtles, frogs, lizards, a chameleon, a parrot, and a snake. I was one of the parent chaperones, and there were also teachers present. The ranger was handling the animals and allowing the children to interact with them. My daughter was nervous about the snake but worked up the courage to participate. She ended up holding it and letting it drape around her shoulders. I was really proud of her because she had to overcome her initial fear to do it. At dinner that night, she excitedly showed my husband a photo of herself holding the snake. His immediate reaction was, "Is that a snake? Why would you do that?" He then started talking about how dangerous snakes are and how they can kill people. I could see her face immediately fall. She had been clearly proud of herself and was looking for approval from her dad. I jumped in and said something like, "She was so brave today. I'm really proud of her." My husband disagreed and continued saying that snakes are dangerous and that it's our job as parents to protect our children from dangerous things. He compared snakes to things like black widows and scorpions. I told him that while protecting our kids is important, it was a safe, supervised educational program with trained adults present, and that this wasn't the moment to shame her for doing something she'd already done. I felt that the bigger lesson at the moment was acknowledging her courage. He got upset and felt I was undermining him. I felt he was crushing a moment she was genuinely proud of. For context, my husband lost his younger sister in a car accident when he was an adolescent and has always been very protective of our children. I understand where his fear comes from, but I still think he handled this poorly. Am I the arsehole for stepping in and trying to redirect the conversation towards praising her bravery instead of focusing on the danger? Oh, I just found that incredibly sad. She was just looking for her dad to say that, "I'm proud of you." And he let his own anxiety around whatever it is overshadow a moment, what should have been a really proud memory for her. Absolutely not the arsehole, and I'm glad that OP at least was standing her ground for her daughter. A commenter says to OP, "Not the arsehole, your husband needs therapy to stop letting his childhood trauma affect his parenting." Another commenter says, "Not the arsehole, your husband's a moron." And a commenter replied saying, "100% agree. I'm pretty certain that the snake your daughter held would not have been venomous, as that would be lack of the rangers and park's duty of care." This is coming from an Australian where we have 7 of the top most dangerous snakes in the world, with number 2, the eastern brown, common in my area during summer. Another commenter says, "So, does your husband know anything about snakes? They're not all evil predators skulking around trying to bite humans like some cape-wearing, smooth, scaly little legless vampires." Your husband is saying you undermined him because you didn't let him leak his terror and lack of knowledge all over a child. I think you're not the arsehole, but he definitely is. He's more concerned with being in control and being able to lecture his offspring than he is helping support and care for them. Commenter says, "None of them are evil predators. They're an ecosystem guardians, and without them, the planet would suffer." But OP does update the post and says thank you to everyone who commented. Reading the responses gave me a lot to think about. Lots of great ideas in there, and some spicy ones. Wow, Reddit, you don't hold back. First, I had a separate conversation with my daughter. I validated her courage, told her how proud I was of her for doing something that felt scary, that the majority of snakes are non-venomous, and explained that it was a part of a safe, supervised educational program with trained adults present. She seemed much happier afterwards. For those asking, yes, my husband has a significant fear/irrational phobia. Is that redundant of snakes? He has also been in therapy in the past, took a break, and had been meaning to find a new therapist after his previous one left the practice. After reading many of the comments, I had a long conversation with him tonight. Instead of focusing on whether he was right or wrong about snakes, we talked about the bigger picture. I told him that the incident made me realize how much anxiety, responsibility, poor sleep and stress he's been carrying. He's been dealing with ongoing sleep issues, some new health concerns, and often seems like he's constantly on alert. I told him I love him. and I'm worried about his overall and mental health. One thing that stood out to him was when I said, she wasn't showing you a snake, she was showing you her courage. That seemed to click and no argument there. Interestingly, he genuinely remembered the interaction differently than I did. In his mind, his reaction was much different. When my daughter showed him the photo, he thought he said, I'm scared of snakes. To which I reminded him, no, your reaction was, is that a snake? Why would you do that? Snakes kill people. We went back and forth because he genuinely thought that his own version of the reaction took place, and I had to insist on the truth and what really transpired. I said she was proud of stepping out of her comfort zone and you crushed it. Imagine a pattern of you doing that, and she'll withhold any accomplishments from you and could further lead to self-confidence issues, her own trauma, diminished relationships / no contact, etc. I shared the facts that only 75% to 85% of snakes are non-venomous, and that she was in a safe, educational space for this exploration. We talked about actual risk and perceived risk. Thanks, fellow Redditors. I also said I know in your heart you're identifying with being protective, but what I'm worried about is your unfinished healing from your own childhood trauma. An emotional, stable, and well-rested person would have reacted differently. I told him, what I wish you could have said instead was, wow, I'm scared of snakes, but so cool and how brave you were when it was hard. Quoting Icy Bloom and Vampire145, users on Reddit. I told him non-negotiable he needs to get back to therapy and work with a sleep specialist and to keep me posted on every step. Also worth mentioning, thank you, Smart Influence 2949's idea for him to salvage the moment and get the photo printed and hung up in a place where he can admire it, and she catches him genuinely doing it and using this as a lesson for us all. We're still working through it, but I feel much more hopeful after our conversation tonight. On the bright side, the snake survived the encounter with our family drama. But now, I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly is absolutely amazing. And hopefully, I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.